Alrighty, folks, welcome back to Smartasses Radio. Well, my first guest is a vocalist who began writing lyrics as a small child in his parents' diner and now sings his music to the tune of over 1.5 million Facebook and Twitter followers. Sarantos, welcome to Smartasses Radio, my friend.
Hey, Johnny, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. Glad to have you on. Did you catch because, you and I were sort of playing tag on Twitter a few minutes ago, especially about Avril Lavigne. I saw you tweeted and Facebooked about that, her GMA thing this morning. Did you enjoy the Avril Lavigne bumper music? That seems hauntingly apropos at this point.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
I forgot to. I just want to say real quick, thank you so much for having me, and thanks to your fans for tuning in tonight.
Oh yeah, not a problem. We're eager to get to know you better. So, speaking of which, you go under the genre of soft rock, pop, dance, country, jazz, relaxation, etc. If you can dumb it down, can you describe your sound in one ramble-on sentence?
Absolutely. If I had to pick a really short phrase, I would say pop rock. And if I had to pick one sentence, I would say I'm basically 80s rock combined with today's modern pop rock music. So that's probably the best way I can describe the fusion of what I do.
Cool. Yeah, I'll tell you, I definitely, when I listen to your music, 80s is really the first thing that pops out to me. What is it about that genre that you like? Is it that it just went away too quickly and you want to keep it going, or what's the deal there?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to bring 80s back. I'm very influenced by the 80s, from Michael Jackson to Survivor to Def Leppard, and people always kind of give me shit. They're like, wow, that's such a diverse variety of influences, but I just love it. I love everything about the 80s, and I'm just trying to bring it back, basically.
Right. Is that kind of why Survivor, Eye of the Tiger, is probably among your favorite songs? Just for that, is that like the quintessential 80s song to you, or is there something in the lyrics about it?
Everyone has like their power song when they're working out. That's definitely mine, and I'm not sure how many of your fans are Rocky fans, but I absolutely love the Rocky series, and that song just gets me going. Every time I hear it, I just want to start working out.
Right. I saw it's not really a meme, but there's a thing floating around about how Sylvester Stallone got the first Rocky movie made. I guess he was like so poor, he was living on the streets that he had to sell his dog. And then they kept somebody actually wanted to buy that movie for $150,000, and he said no unless I star in it. They offered him $250,000, $350,000. He kept saying no. And then finally, he sold it for like $35,000, but they let him star in it, and it was really kind of a cool story. Yeah, and the reason he went with that song was because he couldn't get permission for Another One Bites the Dust from Queen.
I did not know that. Wow, that's a nice little tidbit.
Yeah, voted the 63rd greatest hard rock song of all time by VH1. And then, speaking of things in the genre, I don't know, because this is kind of viral too. Have you caught that viral video that's going around? It's really a small movie called Kung Fury that's just takes off on everything possibly 80s into one, just very dark humor little kung fu video.
No, that's not the David Hasselhoff thing, is it? No,
it
I don't
is.
think I've seen this one.
Yeah, they do the movie, and then Hasselhoff does a music video off of it, and both of them are equally entertaining. I was just applauded that so much. I thought it was just great stuff. So, anyway, speaking of nostalgia, I know you're on record as saying CDs are nostalgic, and I wanted to ask you, am I really that behind the times? Because I know if Tool or Sade or one of my all-time favorite, I don't buy that much music anymore except the handful of artists that I really like. But if they come out with a new album, I'm going straight to wherever they sell CDs and I'm buying the CDs. But is that not how it works these days? Are the kids, is it all about the iTunes these days?
I have to, I guess, tell you, I don't think people buy CDs that much anymore. I think it's all digital. And I think it's really weird now when you see what's happening with the new Apple Music, with Spotify. it seems like the younger generation doesn't want to even own the music. They just want to stream it, which is, to me, it's kind of fascinating because I do prefer owning it, because this way, if I don't have an internet connection, I could still listen to it. I don't have to worry about streaming it. And a CD, to me, if I have an autographed CD or there's art inside, there's the lyric sheets, there's all these extras, behind-the-scenes things that they can include in their CDs, I think it's absolutely fascinating. And I don't think you're ever going to get rid of a CD, no matter how much people prefer a digital download, because when you look at what I'm trying to do, I give away all my music and songs for free, but once a year, I encourage people, if they want, they can have an autographed CD with a ton of extras, high definition, WAV files, all the music videos. I just throw all these extras at them, and I just think you can't ever replace that. You really can't.
I agree with you. And just, even if, I don't know, I mean, you're obviously providing a lot for your fans, but I just like holding something tangible in my hands if it's one of my favorite artists. I don't know, it just struck me because I come from the days when, as a 12-year-old, what do you get, $5 a week for mowing the lawn, so you can't really go out and buy records. So I would sit there with a cassette recorder and try and catch stuff on the radio, So it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just weird
to
me.
Vinyl is making a huge comeback also. So I think people definitely are coming back to the touching, feeling something authentic. And if you add a signature and you add all these other things to it, and again, I'm not sure if you've checked this out on my website, but what I do when I release the CD every year, I take it a step further. I give people the opportunity to, anyone that buys my CD, they get an opportunity to have dinner with me. They get all these extra, they get to be in a music video. So this way, it's almost like a raffle where you can pick out a winner, so to speak, so there's a little loyalty built into it if they buy the CD.
Yeah, that is I did not know that. That's kind of cool that you do that. That brings me to the question, obviously you get that information out through social media. Is social media kind of a double-edged sword? Because I know it allows more people to get out there, but it also makes the ocean of things to interact with a lot bigger, which would make it more difficult to get noticed. What's your take on all that?
I think it definitely is a double-edged sword. And when I first started about a year and a half ago, officially releasing my music to the world, I thought, oh, this is great. I think everyone has a little disillusionment where they think they're going to get discovered and something will go viral. But what you kind of start to realize as the months go by is it's a lot of hard work. And like anything else, it takes marketing dollars to really make the machine go. And social media is great, but look at what happened with MySpace several years ago is people built up their MySpace and then it kind of vanished. Facebook, people build up their Facebook, and now you can't even interact with your Facebook likes and your audience unless you pay to market to them. They won't even see your post or your new video or your new song. So to me, I think the gold standard is getting people to sign up for my email list, which I think I just broke 10,000 email subscribers, which is great. But not that I don't do Facebook and Twitter, but they're all different. I try to do all of them, but they all take a lot of time. And going viral, I think you just got to put in the work. People think that things go viral overnight. No, you got to work hard at it. It takes a couple of years before all of a sudden something you've done takes off, and people don't realize it, and I think they give up way too easily.
Yeah, I know for us, like sometimes we'll post a video on YouTube, and of course you got to share that link on Twitter, which Twitter is kind of like the worst, I think, of that ocean thing, because everybody's talking, nobody's listening on Twitter. And on Facebook, you're right, we have, I don't know, close to 7,000 followers on our Facebook page, and we'll see the post, and it's like, your post reached 52 people. It's like, what? I don't know. What's the use on that? And the only people that can afford to pay that are the people that don't need it, like like Coke and Stouffer's and these big major companies are the only ones that can really afford to pay for Facebook marketing, and they don't need it anyway. So I'm with you. And then throw in Google Plus. You put the video up on YouTube, which connects to your Google Plus page, so you got to go back through and plus one it, and I'm with you. Everything's a pain in the butt. So, but you know about that more than anybody because well, go ahead.
More complicated because Spotify is doing video now, and they're going to start doing artist-centric stuff. Apple Music is going to do the same thing. So people are starting to say, well, Apple Music might be really cool because you're not going to have to compete or spend money to reach out to your fans. But as an indie artist who doesn't have a label, who does everything himself, all of a sudden, instead of posting to like 6 sites, you're going to have to post to like 8 sites. And it's great on the one hand. On the other hand, it's like, well, and what I've seen in my stuff is all of a sudden in like 2-3 days, I'll get like 2,000 Instagram followers and something's going viral there. And I can never figure out exactly what, but I kind of ride the wave. And then the next week, Twitter kind of explodes for a couple of days. And when you don't have the metrics that the big companies have, and you don't have this marketing budget that you're kind of you just ride the wave, and you know eventually it's going to peter out, and you're just kind of trying to hit it all. But there's a lot of interesting stuff going on.
Right. Yeah, it's almost like you have to quit your job in order to promote your job. It's insane. But so let's talk about your effort to try and quote unquote revolutionize the industry. You're releasing a song and a music video every single month. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I started January of 2014, and my mission basically is to release a new song, a new music video, and a new book chapter every single month till the day I die. And what I have is I have something every week basically for the fans. I think the old way of releasing a CD every 2-3 years, they promote it, then they kind of fall off the face of the earth, and I don't think that works anymore. I think fans want you to constantly be in touch. But on the flip side, talked about my email list, I only email them 2 emails a month. One is when the new song comes out, and one is when the new music video comes out, and I've never asked them to buy anything. So my attitude is, if you get tired of me, if you get bored, or you think, hey, these last 2 songs I don't like, you can come back anytime you want, and I'll accept you with open arms. You know, I'm going to keep doing this till the day I die, and I'm going to be consistent. And again, you're not going to appeal to everybody, and I'm here. I'm here for them anytime they need me.
You've obviously got a lot of music in your head. Yeah, you know, like I don't know, we do comedy on this show, and you know, like there's one on here. It's like a take of the People's Court called the Person's Court. It might be another 4 months before we actually collectively come up with something that's worth writing and actually. So I understand like the creative process. So for me to go, you know what, I'm gonna do a whole new comedy act every single month. I don't have the confidence that I could actually come up with enough to be able to do that. So you really must be like Mozart and Prince, where you've got just a ton of music inside your head just itching to come out.
It's a blessing and a curse, and I'm always trying to get better. I'm always critiquing myself. I get ratings and reviews for every single thing I do, and I listen to the pros and the cons. To be honest with you, I barely look at the positive comments. I usually focus on the negative stuff, because right. I think when you feel like you've made it, that's when you're going to fall off the edge of the earth. And I am always, you know, there's days where I'll write like 10 songs. I go work out for a couple hours and I just can't stop. Anything I listen to, and then there's other days I force myself to not write anything for a week, because I look at I digitized all my music a couple years ago, and at this point I probably have over 3,000 songs. And the problem I have is, okay, which of these do I put music to? Which of these do I release? Because I wish someone would come to me and say, hey, let me publish, let me sell like these 500 songs, and because I just have way too much material. But good material is still hard to find. You got to be very critical of yourself, and we all think that it's great when we first write it, and then after the second or third time you look at it, you kind of realize it's not your best stuff, and that's the hardest thing.
Yep, I understand that process completely. So, what is the book chapters thing all about? Is that just my guess would be that maybe that's some songs that you never put to music, and it's more like poetry, so you turn that into a book chapter. Is that what you do, or am I off base on that?
No, you're a little off. What I basically decided to do is, when I write a song, you're kind of limited into how many words you can use. And what I decided to do is, I love fiction fantasy, so I decided, you know what, every end of the year when I release my new CD, and I want to release a book. And I decided, you know what, this book's going to have 11 chapters, and it's going to mirror each song each month. So, for example, last month a song came out called I Sing, and the chapter is called I Sing, and if you've read any of them, it's basically a fiction fantasy involves some supernatural beings like vampires. It's a little sarcastic, a little comedy, a love story. It's got a wizard, it's got trolls. So it's basically what I've done is I've taken each chapter each month and I've made it a story. And it's been very interesting. So the first book was released last year. This year I have about 6-7 chapters released so far, and at the end of the year the second book will come out. And I'll probably do the same storyline next year, so it'll be like a trilogy. And then after that, I'll probably go off on a completely new story. It's a cool thing no musician or songwriter's ever done, and again, it's just another part of me and another way for me to tell a story.
Right. Well, you know what people say, man, I can't get enough of wizards, trolls, and vampires. So you're definitely on the right track using that as a topic. And so and speaking of like the income that you get, I found this fascinating. You literally donate 1/3 of your music income to charity every month.
Again, I try to be honest about this. Is I pick a different charity each month that I think there's a double meaning and why that charity fits into that song. And what I do is it's 1/3 of profits for every song, and I have no way of knowing which song is going to hit or which isn't. As I grow and I get bigger, if I start touring, whatever set list those songs are included, that's how I'll divvy it up. But again, I want to be very upfront and honest in that obviously being an indie artist, I've brought in almost nothing compared to what I've spent. So at this point, I've done plenty of charitable and I donate stuff anyway, but I can't say that I'm profitable. So hopefully as I continue to grow, that'll actually translate to some real dollars.
Right. Well, you're doing this for a labor of love anyway. I mean, anybody that's just got, like we talked about, that's got that much in your head, you've just got to get it out. So you're doing it because you love it anyway. So yeah. And let's talk about your Christmas CD, speaking of original music, 4 original new Christmas songs. That's practically unheard of these days, even one new Christmas song.
Yeah, so that was something that I surprised. We talked before about my email list, and they're kind of privy to inside information as well as exclusives, which is why I recommend people sign up for it. So last year, nobody had any clue. It went out in November, but then a week after that came out, I surprised everybody on Black Friday last year and said, hey, by the way, here's a Christmas CD. It's got 4 originals. It's got 10 covers. It's got, 14 Christmas covers, and it's got 10 short stories where I basically read a classic short story like A Christmas Carol, and I have sound effects. And I just kind of wanted to put together a 2-CD Christmas set list that basically when you think of families, if they want to listen to Christmas stuff, and that's kind of what I did.
That's awesome. That actually gives us something in common because that's what I do. I'm a voiceover guy, voice actor / voiceover guy with impersonations mixed in there too. And I did a reading of The Night Before Christmas in the voice of Ian McKellen, so that actually kind of meets your wizard criteria there too. But
that's cool. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, so and one of these years I'm going to get around to doing a Christmas Carol. It's on, it's one of those back burner type things, but I would love doing that and just doing all the characters in it myself. That would be fun. So before we get to your lightning round, which is a couple minutes away, what advice would you have for musicians or anyone for that matter who does not have 1.4 million Facebook and Twitter followers? What advice would you have for people trying to make it?
The simplest advice that I think they should take to heart is, like you said before, you got to do it because you love it, because you really have to assume there's no money in it until you get to so much further down the road that you really have to love it. And then the second thing is, it's okay to keep your day job. You don't have to, you can do it 100% of the time, but then also put aside 40 hours a week to work and support your family or your girlfriend or whatever it is that you have. I think a lot of people kind of think one or the other. They don't think they could ever have a day job as well as do this on the side. And I think if your passion is acting, if it's comedy, if it's music, why can't you? I mean, there's no reason you can't. And I think the stigma in society where you have to have one or the other, I think is BS. I think you could do both.
I think what it is for people is that sleep gets in the way. They feel as though they have to have their 8 hours of sleep. And, I learned a long time ago that if you want to get anything done in this world, you've got to cut a couple hours out of sleep. And I think I read where you go on like 4 or 5 hours of sleep every night. Did I read that? Was that you that I read that about?
Yeah, I don't sleep much. I like to sleep much, and I think one day when I retire, I'll probably take an afternoon nap as well as sleep a lot. But I love what I do. I love my day job. I love the music thing. And eventually, my dad just say, you can rest when you're dead. And I kind of believe in that.
Yeah, I pointed out to somebody the other day, what was it? I think it was their 48th birthday, and I don't know, I was thinking about it at the time, and I said, do you realize that means you've been asleep for 16 years? Because literally 1/3 of your life is dedicated to sleep. So, anyway, all right, it is time for your lightning round. I'm going to go ahead and hit the music, and while this is playing, I need you to get pumped up like you're one of those karate guys about to chop a block in half, all right? All right, here we go.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Speaking of great songs, that may be the greatest clubbing song ever made. You hear that song and you just know action is about to ensue.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Absolutely. Question number
Mortal
1.
Kombat. Yep.
All right, question number 1. I'm going to give you an easy one to start off with. And I will buzz you for correct or cheer you for incorrect or cheer you for correct answers. So here we go. Question number 1: Breakfast Club or St. Elmo's Fire?
Breakfast Club.
That would be the correct. Tried to pick 2 '80s movies that actually spawned off a great deal of music, and I think you picked the better of the 2 there. But clearly the better of the 2 movies. So, all right, if you were to get invited to a soiree tomorrow that you really did not want to attend, is it acceptable to use as an excuse, I'm sorry, the wheel in the sky keeps on turning, and I don't know where I'll be tomorrow? Is that an acceptable excuse?
Yeah, absolutely, especially if it's a Journey concert.
There you go. That is the correct answer. Nice. All right, question number 3, Betty or Veronica?
Betty. Got to go with the nice girl.
Unfortunately, I have to buzz you on that one. It is always the dark-haired evil one on this
Veronica,
show.
All right.
Yeah. Question number 4, if you put Guy Fieri and a Frosted Mini Wheat next to each other, on a scale of 1 to 10, how difficult would it be to tell them apart?
I would say 0. It'd be pretty easy to tell them apart.
No. Closer to 10. They look exactly alike. A Frosted Mini Wheat and Guy Fieri look almost exactly alike. With all that frosting in his hair and the thumb, he looks exactly.
I actually saw him last week at the B96 bash. He was sitting in front of me. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, well, our crack research staff here at Smartasses Radio is very adept at picking up on those things. All right, question number 5. Have you ever climbed into the wrong car because you thought it was a Buick?
No.
That is correct. That is correct because no human on Earth has ever climbed into the wrong car because they thought it was a Buick, unlike the Buick commercials would have you believe. Thank you. All right, question number 6. Where do broken hearts go, and will they find their way home?
We're going to have to ask Whitney Houston, but I don't know where they go. But hopefully they do find their way home.
Do you think they do find their way home more times than not?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Oh, I think that is the correct. Well done, sir. Question number 7. Who are your favorite comic book superheroes, male and female?
On the male side, I'd probably have to say Superman. On the female side, probably... Oh, boy, that's a tough one. I guess Wonder Woman.
Very good answers. I can tell you if this were Family Feud, Wonder Woman would be the number 1 answer on the female side, so nicely done on that. All right, question number 8. How can you just leave me standing alone in a world that's so cold?
Because I'm from Chicago and it's colder in the winter.
Okay, I don't think there was an incorrect answer on that. I'm just glad you recognized the Prince lyric after we talked about Prince.
Yes.
Nicely done. All right, question number 9. We're going to play Who Wants to Be a Millionaire for one question, and when we come back after this music, you will hear me in the voice of Regis Philbin. Here we go. All right, Sarantos. For $1,000, where is the best place to eat after a Chicago Bulls game? A, the Aberdeen. B, Park Tavern. C, the Ogden. D, East of Eden, number 2.
I would say East of Eden.
You are correct. Very, very, very nicely done. And I said that wrong. It'd be the Aberdeen Tap. Okay, number 10. Number 10, can you cause damage to your retinas by staring at a total eclipse of the heart?
I would say no, because it's not a real eclipse. So,
you know what? You talked me into it. I was going to buzz you, but you talked me into it. I was looking for yes, but yeah, you talked me into it. Question number 11. Who, in your opinion, is the sexiest woman alive?
Oh, man. That changes week to week. God. I would probably say right now, Taylor Swift seems pretty hot. She's riding on top of the world. So she had a great week last week, taking on Apple and getting them to listen to her. So I would probably say her.
I think that is a very good argument, and I am going to cheer you for that one. I think I don't remember them all anymore because after 100 shows, things mix together a little bit. I know Angelina Jolie is still the number 1 answer, but I think you might be the second or third person to say Taylor Swift, so nice job on that. All right, and the 12th and final question. Which of the following is most likely to be taken from Liam Neeson in the next Taken film? A, his wallet, B, his car keys, or C, his Sunday paper?
I would say his Sunday paper. That'd be kind of funny.
You know what? There is no incorrect answer, but that is the best of the correct answers, so I'm going to cheer you for that. Reason being, speaking of the comedy spoofs we've done on this show, we did one where we did a fake sequel of Liam Neeson's third movie. It ended up being hauntingly similar to the actual movie that came out, which we didn't even know was coming out at the time, but that was what got stolen from him in the spoof, was his Sunday paper. So nice job on that one. So, all right, we got about a minute and a half left here. What's next for you? Anything you want to plug? Speaking of social media, let people know where they can find you on it. By all means, take the next minute or two to let people know where they can get more of Sarantos.
Sure, Johnny. So my main website is melogia.com, which is www.melogia.com. They can find links to my Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. My name is Sarantos, Sarantos. If they Google me or look me up on Instagram or YouTube or anywhere, pop up number 1. And I encourage them to come along for the ride. They'll get new content coming at them every week. And I'm always open to fan interaction. A lot of things I've changed. A lot of the charities I've picked have been suggested by fans. So whatever's near and dear to your heart, let me know. I have no marketing agency. It's just me, and I will respond right back to you.
Cool. There you go. And, folks, a little bit of a surprise for everybody, too. We're actually going to play a little bit of his music heading into the break. The song's going to be called Easy to Believe when we play it. But, yeah, that's it. I appreciate you coming on, Sarantos. Great interview, great time. And anytime you want to come back on, you got something to plug, or you just want to BS for a few minutes, let me know, and we'll get you in somewhere. All right, my friend?
Yeah, Johnny. Anytime you want, man. I loved it. It was great. And thank you again for having me.
You're absolutely welcome. And all right, folks, here it is, the song Easy to Believe, and then we're going to go ahead and just go straight into the commercial break after the song plays. And when we get back from all that, we'll have actress Tricia Kelly, so stay tuned, folks.